When I was a player, the dressing rooms I was part of were extremely homophobic.
What would you do if a player came out on your team?
Support them. I think we'd be the first one.
I also feel like this is kind of like putting a plaster on a wound.
Makes absolutely no sense why homophobia is an issue, particularly at football.
Great to have you all here to discuss a really important issue we have today in the game. Homophobia is often ignored or shrugged off as banter. It comes in many forms. It's not just on the pitch. What's the impact of homophobia, not just on the individual, but also on the sport as a whole?
You get to a certain stage in your life when you're more sure about what is right and what is wrong. And I don't think anyone who's got a modicum of intelligence thinks it's right that people can be abused, and sometimes very badly abused, for their sexuality. And, you know, you go through your life and you have experiences yourself, and hopefully you learn from them. I come back to it, when I was a player, the dressing rooms I was part of were extremely homophobic. And I'm sure if there was a video of me in every single dressing room, you would have found me saying something that I wouldn't be terribly proud of today. But I like to think I've learned from my mistakes.
Yeah, and I think it's good that you're able to, rather than going, no, it's good just to accept and say, this is the culture that I was a part of when I was...
Yeah, and I joined in, because I felt that you had to be like that. You know, you had to be one of the boys. But I learned from my 20-year-old son about his views on politics. Don't always agree on, you know, the homophobic issue, on racism, and I've learned from him.
I work in the sports industry, and I came out when I was 19 to my family and friends. I didn't come out in the sports industry until I was 25, so there's a 6-year gap. I think it's a very macho environment. For me, I think it was fear. I think I was, just thought I'd lose respect and authority from the guys in the office. Would think, oh, what does this guy know about football and sports? But I think...
Was it misguided fear as it turned out?
Yeah, absolutely. So the support when I came out was fantastic, and you know, everyone was really supportive. But I think, coming back to what Graeme said, I think I probably went along with a few homophobic jokes.
See, I'd be interested, Scott, has it changed? I mean,
I think...
Has it changed much
if
today?
If somebody came out in our dressing room, it'd be amazing. I think the first person to ever come out, it'd be possibly the best thing to happen. I think for that to happen, it's going to be hard for somebody to come out, but they need to realise that we're very open. It's 2019.
Why is it important that Paddy Power is involved in tackling homophobia in football?
Our fans and followers are almost all football fans. So we have the opportunity where we can actually do something positive with this audience that we have. What you have is an opportunity for us to get behind a cause which, like, you bang your head against a wall, because it makes absolutely no sense why homophobia is an issue at all in society, particularly at football, but it is.
How impactful is having allies and people like Graeme and Scott?
I think it's really important. And what Graeme spoke about in your career, where you have said harmful things, I think it's really important to admit to that, because we are all flawed, and the reason why people say things that are flawed is because you haven't had a chance to learn what is right. So it's amazing with people with certain platforms, from different generations, from different races, coming together and having this discussion. I think it's powerful and it's important. I
think it's fair to say Paddy Power, I think, got a bit of a questionable history when it comes to the relationship with the LGBT community and some previous backlash from the community.
Yeah, we got it wrong. We come out and try and get it right again. You know, like, nobody's perfect, as I said. The imperfections is what makes everybody great. And of course, you can make a mistake and come back and try and make it better afterwards. So we did. We ran campaigns years ago that you obviously wouldn't even dream of running now, and just kind of got the tone completely wrong with it.
We should all be pleased that someone has stepped up to play. I had a very dear friend who died, who was gay, who was high profile here in the UK, died 2 years ago. I got very close to him. Him and my wife were pals for over 10 years. Got very close to him. And I knew how sad he was at times, but things did get better for him. As you know, in the sort of period I knew him, the attitude to gay people did improve slowly but surely, and he was aware of that. So, you know, football is an area that has to address it, that hopefully one day we can make football comfortable enough with itself and welcoming, where someone can actually step in and say, you know what, I'm gay.
Scott, you said your best friend is gay. So does it affect you more hearing the homophobia and stuff, knowing that you have a connection to the LGBT community? And
he went through hard times. He couldn't pick up the phone to people. He had to phone them with withheld numbers to try and chat to people, because I think they would have maybe got a fright to start with, didn't know what to say to him as well. And it's a hard subject as well when you don't realise that as well. But for me, the support that he's had, and see him now with a smile on his face, and he's able to chat about these times when he's been through hard times, and everyone's been through hard times as well, I totally get that, but to see him now with his boyfriend, and the two of them are getting married at the end of the year, it's great to see stuff like that coming.
Scott, you experienced homophobic slurs. How does it feel hearing these when you're not from the LGBTQ community?
We hear all sorts of shouting abuse daily, to be perfectly honest, whether it's people driving down the street shouting things at you, and you know, it's like somebody puts the window down and it's like, you, what are you? And it becomes part of my life, it becomes part of Graham's life. And I think we just got to be strong, and you've got to deal with that, because if you let those people get to you, you're eventually going to be an emotional wreck.
For some, for kids who are gay, it must be really tough, because they don't have, we got support on maybe 20 guys in the dressing room that we can lean on. That Dick there calling me these names, and you got the support of your teammates. But for someone who's, someone who comes out and is gay, it must be very difficult, because they must feel so alone. And then we're here to discuss why there's no professional players doing it. And that's why I think we asked the question very early on. If someone came out in your dressing room today, maybe I shouldn't ask you, but I'm going to. You've got 25 guys in your dressing room. Could you put your hand on your heart and say the 24 will stand behind them and be supportive?
I don't think you can possibly say that 100% that we would. I think I'd like to look around the change room. We've taken everybody.
Would it be a vast majority?
Yes, all day long. I think we spoke about it in the change room before. And
so I would say that's the exact. If you had asked me the question, that's the answer I would have given you from the dressing room that I was a player in. I couldn't put my hand on my heart and say it was going to be unanimous, that every single one of them would get behind the kids.
Yeah, but you can't always, like, I don't know what you're feeling, I don't know what anyone's feeling. You don't know what they're going to say, you don't know what somebody's going to say in an environment when they're surrounded with 20 people, because if one goes, some people like a sheep, and everyone can follow, you know what it's like. But I think, hand on my heart, I would say yeah.
I think it would work like this. I think there'd be objections, but I think the good guys...
Yeah, you would see the
good guys would win them over very quickly.
What do you think the impact of homophobia has on football, the reputation of football as a sport?
Today, we cannot have something that's so archaic, something that should have been addressed tens of years ago, if not 100 years ago, in football, that you can't go to a football match without hearing, again, and I'm trying to use a term that's acceptable for this conversation, a village idiot being responsible for poisoning the atmosphere for the decent people who go to football matches. You've got to get hold of him, physically throw him out, or just call the police and be banned forever. You're never coming back, you're not wanted. And I come back to it has to be self-policed. That's the way you'll solve the problem. The good people that go to football matches, and they are the vast majority, they have to be confronting it, whether it's by calling a policeman and saying, look, this guy's unacceptable. Get him out of the stadium. I've got my son with me, I've got my wife with me. And it is that now. It's not just dad and lad. It's my wife and my daughter might be there. So you get them out of the stadium, and slowly but surely you get rid of these idiots.
There's no reason why football should be any different from the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, just people, maybe when they get to a herd mentality and when they're in the passion and everything of being in a match and everybody's in that group, that maybe there's slightly tweaked rules, and half the stuff that we're talking about, some of the chants and that, just wouldn't be acceptable on the street.
I also feel like this is kind of like putting a plaster on a wound as well. I feel like we should heal the wound, and I think education is also a good way of doing that, teaching people why homophobia is wrong, as well as like banning people from entering a stadium. I think there could be more done to educate young people on why this is not right. What challenges could openly gay players experience if they have to travel when playing the game?
I think the chanting's the biggest one. I think I've had it, Graham's had it, we take it on the chin, but some people in the crowd and some families and that, and as Graeme says, and it's more a family sport now. There's so many families coming along to it, and you don't want your kids learning that and to growing up and hearing people slagging other people's for being gay or whatever they're saying. It's not nice to hear, and especially this day and age.
I don't think it's just players. I think it's supporters as well. So we've seen, obviously, the last World Cup was in Russia. The next World Cup's going to be in Qatar. You know, these countries are, you know, openly against homosexuality. So
would it be a gay player playing guitar there, knowing that the rules in Qatar are extremely harsh, if not Stone Age?
Yeah, and gay supporters going over to support Liverpool, support
well,
their teams in the World Cup.
And the World Cup in a couple of years' time.
Graeme, you've managed lots of players. Are there any reasons why managers would ask a player to remain in the closet?
Well, I think you'd have to immediately go to your chief executive chairman if a player came to you and said he was about to come out. As cynical as the football world is, and it is a cynical world, it's all about money today. I think the first concern would not be, unfortunately for the boys, welfare. It'd be more to do with, he's worth 50 million quid today. If he comes out, is it going to add money to his value? I think commercially it certainly would for the club, but in terms of another club buying him, does it diminish his value? And that, I'm sorry to make it sound very cynical, but I think that would be the concern of management.
What are the most inspiring words or actions you've come across in the fight against homophobia?
No one's come out. It's as if it's a subject we don't want to touch. It doesn't exist in my club. Yeah, really? And we're not going to talk about it. That seems to be the attitude that prevails all the way through the professional game. Impossible. No one's gay at my club. Of course it's possible. And the reality is there will be at every single club. Or it's the reality, a real chance.
Scott, most inspiring words you've heard?
I'm with Graeme. I think we do a lot for racism now. We're trying to help out as much as we possibly can, but this is the first thing that I've really done. And for me to be part of it is amazing, but we need everyone to do it, not just 5, 6 people. I mean, social media is huge for it, and that's one thing that we should all start to learn from, and we have to be openly as well. I
think we've kind of come up with some ways that we can move forward and kind of shine some light on the reputation of football.
It's great to be here.
Pleasure.
It's great to be here.
Cheers.
Thank you, Piero.
Cheers.
Thank you.